Good morning, brothers and sisters, and thank you for joining us today on the steps of the Alameda County Superior Courthouse here in beautiful Oakland at Lake Merritt. My name is Matthew Miller. I'm the lead field representative for labor compliance with the NorCal Carpenters Union, and today I'm speaking for the Carpenters Union. We're joined today by some allies up here who are helping us with this fight. We've got Terry Wiley, Chief Assistant District Attorney for the Alameda County District Attorney's Office. Sheng Thao, who represents Oakland's 4th District on the City Council and is also running for mayor. She couldn't be here, she contracted COVID, but we have Renia Webb, her Chief of Staff, and we're grateful. Thank you. And of course, we have Alex Lee from California State Assembly representing the 25th District. Thank you for being here, Alex. And I would be remiss not to mention all the many brothers and sisters from the NorCal Carpenters who have come here today. Thank you all for being here and showing your support.
Yeah!
So this is part of a national event taking place throughout the week in which carpenters, politicians, and community organizations are coming together to bring awareness to construction industry tax fraud in the communities where we live and how it affects us. Tax fraud overall is a contributing factor to why we have more homeless in the streets, why we have a lack of affordable housing, why our nation's roads are in disrepair, and why we don't have the amount of resources related to safety and education that our communities need. So it makes sense that we're standing here on the courthouse steps, because what we're talking about today is a crime, and it affects millions of working people across the nation. From the hardworking men and women who built this country to the fair contractor who lost that bid because another contractor, without the moral fortitude to do the right thing, to pay their workers and to pay their taxes, stole that job. Because when they don't pay their taxes, it's the rest of us who foot the bill. And we don't want to give a free ride to cheaters.
Yeah!
The members and staff of the NorCal Carpenters have walked a lot of these crime scenes some people like to call construction sites. We've spoken to the non-represented workers, and what we've found is this criminal activity is taking place all across Northern California. Cash pay and wage theft are everywhere. I mean, we see it every day. We suffer when they don't pay the workers. We suffer when they don't pay their taxes. But you know, one of our mottos here at the NorCal Carpenters is not to be problem finders, it's to be problem solvers. So today we're taking steps to solve this problem of tax fraud, to stop the cheaters from pocketing the money that should be going to the people and the resources where it belongs. We need to stop tax fraud, and we need to stop tax fraud now. Now, we can't do this alone, and we have a lot of allies, and a few of them are up here today. So I'm going to introduce our first speaker. In 1990, Terry Wiley began his career with the District Attorney's Office. He's the Chief Assistant DA and the number 3 ranking prosecutor in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office. Terry's a strong advocate for the criminal justice reform and fighting inequities in the adult and juvenile justice systems. He has a vast criminal law experience, having served in most significant assignments in the District Attorney's Office. And one of the accomplishments that stands out to me is that between 2007 and 2017, the DA's restitution unit obtained more than $140 million in direct restitution for both victims and the state of California who have expended funds on behalf of crime victims. We are proud to have worked with Terry in the past, and we look forward to working with him in the future. Brothers and sisters, Terry Wiley.
Thank you, Matthew. And it's a real honor to be here with the NorCal Carpenters. So thank you for being here. You know, we welcome working collaboratively with labor and particularly the NorCal Carpenters Union. You know, as we approach the tax filing deadline, it is important to raise awareness of the many forms of fraud being committed by employers and its impact on taxpayers. You know, fraud costs taxpayers billions of dollars and hurts law-abiding employers as well. You know, when employers misclassify or understate workers, report inaccurate payroll, do not report work injuries, or encourage workers to submit fraudulent workers' compensation claims, it's all fraud. The District Attorney's Office will continue to work collaboratively with the California state government agencies and local agencies to combat the underground economy. What is that underground economy? Well, when employers use fraudulent business practice models, it hurts workers and compliant businesses while also being a burden on taxpayers. One of the things that they do is they misclassify workers. So the misclassification of workers occurs when an employer improperly classifies their employers as independent contractors. So they do not have to pay payroll taxes or minimum wage or overtime, or comply with other wage laws that require such things as, you know, break periods and rest breaks. You also have wage theft, and that's when employers do not pay workers according to the law. Examples of wage theft include paying less than minimum wage, not paying workers overtime, not allowing for meal breaks, and requiring off-the-clock work, or in the case of workers who receive tips, taking their tips from them. So we're going to work closely with Matthew and the NorCal Carpenters, and you guys will always have a direct line to the District Attorney's Office if there's any kind of wage theft that you're aware of and you need our assistance. It's my honor to be here with you today, and we support you wholeheartedly. Stop tax fraud.
Thank you, Terry. So Sheng Thao is one of the Bay Area's boldest, most effective progressive leaders. She's a barrier-breaking council member representing Oakland's 4th District. Now, we hear about refugees in the news a lot right now. Sheng is the daughter of refugees who escaped genocide in Laos. She's the first Hmong American woman council member in California history, and we know she will be the first Hmong American mayor as well. Sheng, of course, couldn't be here. We were lucky to have Renia, Webb, her chief of staff, and she's going to be speaking. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Matthew, for having me. Thank you to our Carpenters Union. I'm just really proud to be standing here with you today. Councilmember Sheng Thao sends her apologies for not being here. She is under the weather, so I'm standing in her place. But I just want you to know that in Councilman Sheng Thao and our future mayor of Oakland, you have a stark supporter for your workers, for our unions, to make sure that we are really addressing this crime, this theft, this injustice to our workers. Today I'm a part of Local 21 Union, and I wore this in solidarity because we're all brothers and sisters in this fight. We're all each other's brothers and sisters, and an injustice to one is an injustice to all. I was so appalled to read that 1 in 5 contractors are in violation, are committing a crime. And if that's what the statistics show, that means it's probably more like 2 in 5, at a sum of $8.4 billion. I don't know if you guys realize that that is taking money from our kids' mouths. That is allowing that money that should be going to support our schools, our libraries, our road, our infrastructure, is not being given to its right parts. Actually, it's only making the rich richer and the poor poorer. There's now this disconnect of the have and the have-nots. Today we are, as the scarf says, we are the ones that are serving the public, and we are our champions of our community. And if we as a city, as a state, as a nation, are not standing up, supporting and uplifting those that are our essential workers, what are we saying? We're telling those that are criminals that, hey, go be criminals, keep robbing us, keep stealing from us, while we are building our cities, our states, our country. So I really today challenge you all. We all can do our part. definitely Council Member Sheng Thao and our City Council are doing our parts. Our DA's office is going to do our part. Our Assembly members, our Attorney Generals, we're all going to do that part. But here today, as we stand with each other, we all have to do our little part. Me, I'm new to our union, so I'm going to be joining our CAT training next week, so I can sit at the table when we are doing these negotiations. I challenge each and every one of you to get behind your union, get involved at these tables, make sure that your voice is heard. We're going to do our part on the back end, but I just want you all to know that we are standing with you. I am my brother's keeper. I want you all to know that we love you and we support you, and we are going to say no to tax fraud. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Renia. Well said.
Aisha.
All right, we're going to open the mic for Aisha Wahab. Aisha is here representing the Hayward City Council, and she's running for state senate in the California's 10th district. Give a big warm welcome to Aisha Wahab.
Thank you, guys. So, you know, we're here today to talk about justice. When we talk about America, we talk about people being able to provide for their families, to work hard to make sure that they are able to make sure that their kids have a future, that they can afford a home. And it was John F. Kennedy who stated, you know, see what you can do for your country. And every single person here and across this nation work hard for their families. But at some point, we need to also ask, what are the businesses doing for their fellow man? What are the businesses actually trying to do to help provide for these families as well? It's one thing to provide a job, but we need to make sure that that job pays, that nobody is stealing from the fellow working man. That's the honest truth of what we're asking for. This is justice. When you are working for every dollar you get, and you get every dollar you make, not having to go to court for the dollars that you are losing, for the food being stolen off your table, for the money out of your pocket, for the work you actually did. That is what we're asking for. So every single man and woman that are here, I really respect every single thing that you guys are doing. You guys are organizing and you guys are holding people accountable. And we need to make sure that we continue to hold people accountable. Because it's one thing for wage theft and tax fraud and the constant things that we see are being taken advantage of. More so than what we see being reported in the news. And these are kids that are no longer going to be able to have football practice and soccer practice because their parents need to save an extra dollar because somebody took a dollar out of their pocket. That is what this is about. So genuinely, I just want to ask everybody here and everybody listening, what can you do for your fellow working man and woman? Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. Our next speaker, Alex Lee, represents California's 25th Assembly District, which includes both Alameda and Santa Clara counties. Alex Lee was elected in 2020 and became the youngest Asian American legislator ever elected and first openly bisexual state legislator in California history. He serves on the Education, Transportation, Business and Professions, Rules, the Subcommittee on Education and Finance, and several select committees. In his first year, he was named Legislator of the Year by the Golden State Manufactured Homeowners League, as well as the California Attorneys for Criminal Justice. Lee has been a Bay Area resident since birth and called both San Jose and Milpitas his home for all his life. Brothers and sisters, Alex Lee.
Thanks so much for having me today. When the NorCal Carpenters called for me to come in solidarity, I, of course, living in San Jose, came all the way to Oakland to support you all. I proudly represent our Bay Area district in the State Assembly, and I know that all the state legislators who are with our labor movement today are going to be standing in solidarity with you to enforce our laws on the books, to make sure that the tax sheets are held to account. 1 in 5, that's 20% of all construction workers in the entire state right now are being purposely misclassified by tax cheats. That is an effective amount of $8.4 billion that is being cheated from the public, from workers, and from our California public residents. Those are services that we definitely need. We need to crack down on those rigging the system to make them pay their fair share. Because right now, there are many folks right now who are rigging the system to maximize their profits. And I think there is a double standard right now where poor folks who commit economic crimes are held to the strongest account, but those with privilege and capital, they're not held to the same account, even though they are reaping much greater damage in much bigger swaths. And that's why we need to make sure that we are holding them accountable and making sure that workers are not getting screwed over anymore. When workers are misclassified and 1099 instead of having taxes taken out of their checks, they're left with all the tax burden, and it puts workers at risk. They don't have protections like workers' comp if they're injured on the job, or unemployment insurance if they're laid off. They're also susceptible to further exploitation because misclassified workers don't get paid overtime or even guaranteed rest breaks. And when it's a race to the bottom and their cheating system, fair contractors are out of work and union members are stuck on the ready to work list. But this is why unions are so important. This is why I'm proud to be standing with the labor constantly. This kind of behavior cannot be tolerated. When you use union labor and union construction, it's a guarantee that you're supporting apprenticeships, living wages, health insurance, pensions, and vacations. You all out here are not trying to cut corners. Union construction workers sustain a highly skilled and trained workforce that meets safety and compliance regulations. This is why I'm also so proud to see the strength of labor unions increasing throughout this country and in this moment. Throughout the country, we're helping fight for stronger worker protections, and all workers, whether they're represented or not right now, need our help. So we need stronger enforcement and punishment of these tax cheats, and we need stronger protections for our workers, and we need an even competitive market that doesn't incentivize worker protection. I want to thank you all for having me on today, and I know that in the State Assembly, we will continue our fight to protect workers throughout the state and make sure our tax cheats are held to account. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. I want to thank all our speakers, all of them groundbreaking. I want to thank all the staff from the NorCal Carpenters and our amazing IT team for helping get all this done. You make it look easy. And in closing, if you want better roads, bridges, safer streets, more affordable housing, and a flourishing education system so our kids can prosper when we need to call our state and local representatives and ask them to stand up against tax fraud. We need to ask them to support and continue to strengthen laws like SB 727, which holds prime contractors responsible when their subs cheat, and it's been working. We need to ask them to protect our communities, our tax-paying contractors, and their employees and families by promoting prevailing wages so workers can afford to live in the communities where they're working. We need to promote apprenticeship standards through state-certified joint labor management programs. And we need to promote health care for construction workers. There's too many of us that go without. And support oversight and compliance on these construction projects. Ask them to strengthen employment for our law enforcement and public safety by prosecuting wage theft as a felony. And ask them to help recover the billions in lost tax revenue. Now we're going to end in typical organizer fashion with a chant. So let us chant so loud that they're not only hearing us in the East Bay, but they hear us all across the Bay Area. And everyone across the nation knows we're standing with our brothers and sisters to take action against tax fraud. So on the count of 3, we're gonna say, stop tax fraud now. 1, 2, 3.
Stop tax fraud!